You're listening to Live Radiantly on WMPG. Whoop, wait a second. No, you're not. You're watching the Live Radiantly show on YouTube. This is a program that I normally deliver live every week on WMPG, which is the University of Southern Maine's radio station. However, thanks to a viewer request, I am now going to start delivering a recorded video version of my show here on YouTube. So I hope you enjoy. Let me tell you a little bit more about what this is. I'm going to read my script, which I'll be delivering here in about an hour. So you're listening to Live Radiantly, a talk show, watching a talk show dedicated to guiding you through the challenges of life with curiosity, creativity, and a spark of imagination. My name is Stephanie McLeod-Estevez. I'm an art therapist and breast cancer survivor. I'm passionate about helping everyone, including myself, feel resilient and capable so that we can navigate the ups and downs of life and discover our unique radiance. After all, your radiance is how you identify what's possible so that you can move from surviving to thriving. Join me each week as I discuss thought-provoking themes and then guide you through a live art therapy experiential so that you can explore how the theme impacts your life with the goal of understanding yourself better. While I do hope you'll walk away each week feeling inspired, please note that this show is not a replacement for therapy itself. I do hope that what I have to share will benefit how you see yourself, others, and the world around you. And now I'd go into the disclaimer that these are my opinions and not the University of Southern Maine's. So today, we're going to explore what it feels like to play with opposites. In this case, expansion and contraction. In the second half of the show, we'll do an art therapy experiential that will help you explore this theme. If you've never tried art therapy before, no worries. I'm going to guide you through the process. And like everything else in life, it gets easier the more you try. A quick note, you can do art therapy by actually creating something on paper, of course, or by using your imagination. The good news is that both ways benefit you. So if you're driving in a car or unable to stop what you're doing to draw or paint, that's okay. You can imagine what you'd create, and then when you have time, put it down on paper. Let's explore why playing with opposites and welcoming them into your life is an important part of feeling resilient and capable. After all, when we give ourselves permission to play and explore, we open ourselves up for discovery. A healthy life is usually one in which we recognizing that finding the balance between opposing energies helps us to take care of our whole self. So today we're going to explore the power behind experiencing expansion and contraction in our lives. In psychology, expansion and contraction are seen as fundamental energetic and emotional states in our mind-body system. Even though you might favor one or over the other, I invite you to consider how a little bit of both brings you what you need in order to move from surviving to thriving. Expansion is usually related to openness and growth. You might call this feeling of being in the flow of life because it invites joy, curiosity, and love. It can be very energizing when you feel expansion because you're receptive to new experiences. The energy of expansion is connected to the life cycle as well, the seasons of spring and summer. This is where the party's at, right? But there's truth that having too much of a good thing can be overwhelming, right? And so too much expansion is not necessarily ideal. For example, imagine what it would be like if your lungs could only expand. You'd miss out on the juicy reward of feeling the sweet release of the exhale. So even if you favor expansion, when you contract, you're more likely to find solid ground. Contraction is often seen as protection and introspection. It can be harder to experience because it frequently comes with feelings that are heavy, like fear, anger, and overwhelm. Yet contraction is also a signal that initiates a necessary pull inward to help you take stock of what's happening. It asks or maybe demands that you get grounded, which is necessary for feeling safe. Contraction can make you feel rigid and tense and constricted, of course, but it can also make our need for rest and emotional relaxation, sure, but regulation, uber clear. One of my favorite people takes care of herself when she feels the need to contract by engaging with duvet therapy, aka getting under a cozy blanket, right? The energy of contraction is also connected to the cycle of life, the seasons of fall and winter, which encourage us to rest. So yes, we need contraction. But just like with expansion, we need to be mindful of when it's too much, because we can get stuck in contraction when we're afraid, overwhelmed, or angry. Like before, imagine what it would be like if your lungs could only contract. You'd get the relief of the exhale, but you'd miss out on the new life, new perspective, and refreshed energy that comes with the power of your inhale. In therapy, there's this concept called a flight to health, which is a form of holding on too deeply to expansion. It's a perception of feeling like you're cured, yay, which can come from deep relief of not holding on to the burden you are carrying anymore, aka moving away from being stuck in contraction. But a flight of health can also be an unconscious escape from anxiety that you feel about doing the deeper work that is needed for healing. As a therapist, I always want my clients to feel better. If I see a flight of health happening, I usually try to focus on pacing and grounding, because healing is about experiencing a journey of expansion and contraction, ups and downs, and that famous bumpy road. The key to learning how to work and play with opposites of expansion and contraction is to look for what each message, each of these feelings is and states, of course, trying to send you. From a neuroscience and somatic perspective, contraction reflects protection, resource conservation, and unresolved activation in your nervous system. So if you feel like you're stuck in contraction, keep these categories in mind, as they might offer a solution. On the other hand, the feeling of healthy expansion in your nervous system reflects feeling safe, regulated, and available to connect. So when you feel expansive, and it's not feeling like overwhelmingly expansive, it's a great time to pay attention to the people and the conditions that are contributing to your openness. While, of course, again, being mindful that expansion always benefits from the grounding of contraction, even when we're enjoying ourselves. So if this theme is resonating for you, take a moment to acknowledge what's coming up. This week's art therapy experiential is going to help you explore. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about art therapy, and how it works. So this is when I remind listeners that they are, listening to WMPG and what we've just done, in case they're just tuning in, right? And so then I go into the part where I talk a little bit about art therapy. And today we're going to talk about how setting yourself up to practice art therapy can make it easier to get into the flow state, which is one way to experience expansion and contraction more naturally. But if today is your very first time trying art therapy, I want you to know that you do not need to be an artist to benefit from this practice, because there's no right or wrong way to do it. Essentially, art therapy is a type of communication that uses color, shape, and form to tell your story. The most important thing to know is that this is a practice of trusting what your creative instinct wants you to do. So if you feel a little nervous, it's okay. It won't last forever. So the flow state is a sense of fluidity between your body and mind, where you are totally absorbed and deeply focused. Time feels like it's slowed down, your senses are heightened, you are at one at the task at hand, in sync with an effortless momentum. Some people describe this feeling as being in the zone. To find the flow state with art therapy, it's important to think about how you can create conditions that can open you up or help you open up. Number one, create a welcoming environment. Set yourself up for making art like your best friend is coming over. This kind of intention says that you matter, which reinforces that this is a practice of self-love and self-care. When you sit down to create, put on some music that stirs feelings inside of you. This will help you feel more connected and aware of yourself. Music invites the flow state in by, number one, matching the tone of how you're feeling right here, right now, which is affirming. It can put you in touch with yourself in ways that invite communication. It can lift your spirits when you feel doubt, and it can help you focus and trust the process. Finally, number three, consider lighting candles. This can enhance the spiritual aspects of art therapy as a form of self-care and self-exploration. It's also warm and inviting, which can send a signal to your nervous system that you're safe here. As with everything in life, the more you practice using art therapy as a way to communicate, the easier it gets. So, if you were listening to the radio show live, I would be doing a brief intermission. I put on a song so that you can get ready to do the second half of the show, which is the art therapy experiential. So if you'd like to try this live, seriously, you can do it with a pen and pencil and paper. But if you have some easy art supplies on hand, pause this video, get yourself up. And I'm going to take a sip of water because that's normally what I do when I'm playing the intermission song. And then we'll get going. So, welcome back. You're watching Live Radiantly on YouTube. My name is Stephanie. In the second half of this show, I'm inviting you to try art therapy, whether that's on paper or using your imagination. I'll guide you through a meditation that will help you explore today's theme. Once this is complete, I'll put on a song so that you can continue to draw or imagine how today's theme of expansion and contraction is showing up for you right here, right now. But actually, you'll have to put on the music because I'm not going to put that on the YouTube video. But you'd hear it if you're listening live to the show. Whatever comes up is what you're going to draw or visualize, so trust your instinct. Just before the show ends, I'll be back with guidance on where to go from here and an invitation. So after you pause and do the meditation, etc., I encourage you to come back. I always close with a quote and some additional suggestions on how to get more out of this practice. So today's meditation is going to help you explore what it feels like to experience expansion and contraction while remaining anchored and grounded. If you are in a place where you can soften or close your eyes, please do so. This will help you get in touch with yourself. If you're not able to do this, or if it's not comfortable for you to do it, simply get as comfortable as you can. Maybe soften your eyes, right? Well, I already said that, but anyways, do what you can to experience it. Let's begin by visualizing an anchor that is unique to you. Have some fun with this as you imagine what your beautiful, grounded, protective, and intuitive anchor looks like for you. This anchor can be of any material you wish, even material that doesn't make sense for a typical anchor. There's no right or wrong way to create it. How do you want your anchor to feel when you hold it? What kind of texture does it have? What color, shape, and form does your anchor wish to be? Trust whatever's coming up, even if it doesn't make sense to you at this time. See yourself holding your anchor in your hands and sense how it wants to help you feel grounded. Now imagine a tether going between you and your anchor. Maybe your tether is made of something physical and tangible, something that you could pick up and hold in your hand. Or perhaps you prefer an energetic tether. Feel your intuition show you what kind of tether feels right to you. This tether knows when you need more slack in the line to expand. And it knows when you need more constriction to feel deeply, strongly, and securely attached to your anchor. You can trust the wisdom of your tether. Let's begin to experience how you, your tether, and your anchor expand and contract with one another. How you are connected in a way that promotes freedom and security. Experience the power of expansion and contraction that flows effortlessly between you, your tether, and your anchor. Play with expansion and contraction by connecting with your lungs. As you breathe in, feel the expansion, welcoming in new energy, new possibilities. Notice how this shifts the energy between you, your tether, and your anchor. As you breathe out, notice how the contraction draws you, your tether, and your anchor closer together. Feel how this supports you and your relationship to the present moment, anchored in securely. Breathe in and feel how expansion serves you and your life. Breathe out and see how contraction serves you and your life. Now let your attention wander to your heart and how it too is forever expanding and contracting. Notice how the connection with your heart influences your experience of expansion and contraction. Observe your heart's message to you your tether, your anchor, and the here and now. Can you perceive the energy of your heart flowing to and from you, your tether, and your anchor? Take a moment to appreciate how this feels right here, right now. If there's wisdom popping up from within, allow it to speak to you. Trust what it has to say. Take a breath in and out. Feel the support of the surface beneath you, bringing you back to the here and now. Tune into your experience and the intuitive knowledge that has surfaced during this meditation. If nothing comes to mind, allow that to be your experience today. The messages might come to you as you use art therapy to represent what you experienced during this visualization. When you feel really connected to your experience, begin or continue to use creativity to reflect what happened on paper or in your imagination. Your creation may want to be abstract or lifelike. Trust your instinct as to what color, shape, and form it wants to be. Enjoy creating and reflecting, in this case, if you're on the radio show, with this song, Pause for Peace by Joshua Spacht. We'll reconnect after the song is done. So you can pause your video here, do your art therapy component, and then come back to me. I've got a little bit more to share. I'll take a sip of water. If you're just tuning in, you're catching the tail end of Live Radiantly. I've just guided listeners through an art therapy experiential, which you can benefit from once this episode is live under the podcast archives or in my free Substack if you subscribe there. If you've just come through the experiential with me, congratulations, you did it. You may need more time to explore, and I hope you give yourself the time you deserve. Now, give your creation a title. Whatever it is, the very first thing that comes to mind, because often this brings additional awareness and insight to its meaning. So write it down or mentally note what it is. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Anne Brashares. She writes, "In a flash of wonderment, she saw firm, continuous ground under her feet, stretching back then to right now and on as far as her eyes could take her." May it serve you well as you contemplate the power of expansion and contraction and staying anchored. I invite you to be in touch with me. This is YouTube, so you can just leave me a comment in the boxes below. But you can also check out my profile and find my free Substack and message me that way. Before we say goodbye, let's take a moment to breathe in what we've created together. Do you feel a shift inside? May this experience continue to reverberate throughout your day. Until we meet again, I invite you to spark your curiosity and tune into your creativity so that you can live radiantly. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video version of my radio show / podcast. And yeah, if you have a request of like something you'd like me to explore, feel free to let me know. You can leave a message below, or again, reach me through the other means that are in my profile here on YouTube. Take good care from my heart to yours. Have a beautiful day.